So how exactly do you set up an effective shot? Let's first take a look at some shots from Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, which I think is very successful at being effective. We are shown here the character interact with his surroundings and the silent response that he receives. We are then shown an empty space, which initially seems ineffective and useless in the shot, but then becomes effective when it's contrasted with the space being filled up soon after. This wide shot shows us the full body reaction of surprise from the original character and the sheer number of people filling the screen and the speed at which they are running, and also their fight ready stance. The next shot cuts to a closer shot of the leaders of this group so that we can recognize their faces, but it's still a full body shot so that we can see their authority in their walk and posture compared to their underlings behind them. Notice how in these shots that we are only shown what is relevant to the story at hand, and our focus is guided to what is relevant and important by what is included or not included in the frame. All the elements inside the frame, the environment, the empty space, the character's body parts that are shown in the shot are all expressively telling or adding to the relevant story that is being told. Now let's look at some shots that are, in my opinion, not as effective. In Wonder Woman 1984, we see this character walking alone in a dark park at night. So far it's effective at filling the shot with relevant information like how dark and alone she is, which adds to the story. But in this next shot, we see a bust shot of her, but her feet trip up on something, but we don't see her feet. Why not? Her face, chest and arms don't add anything to the story at this point, so why is the film making us focus on these parts of her body? If the film wanted to show us how uncomfortable this character was in her high heels, why didn't the film get us to focus on that by putting it into the shot? For example, why didn't we just see her trip on the original wide shot and then cut to her reaction in the bust shot? Instead, we are made to guess or assume why she had tripped. We are also shown other people in the background, which doesn't add anything to the story. In fact, it detracts from the story because now the park doesn't seem so dark and scary. A little bit later, we see a drunk man harassing the woman. They have a physical tussle when suddenly the drunk man is pulled back by an unknown force. My question here is, why is the film only showing us the man's chest as he's being pulled back? His chest and thigh aren't effective at telling us how sudden, surprising or strong the pull was. We then see the woman's chest and head as she lies or falls down. What happened here? The elements in this shot only tell us that the woman is falling to the ground for some unknown reason, while her face tells us that she's getting ready for nap time. We aren't shown how she fell, how far up she fell from, or how far away she was pushed back. So this shot was very ineffective at showing us how much danger she actually was in by the fall, which negates the impact of the act of saving her from that fall. The new woman who saves her from her nap is revealed to be Wonder Woman, which is the big twist of this sequence, but we were already told in the previous shots that there was no one around. We aren't told or shown where she came from afterwards either. This is why it felt like a bit of a cheat to have Wonder Woman appear here suddenly to save the day, as if the film was deliberately lying to us before. Instead of these shots, what if we were shown a POV shot of Wonder Woman in hiding, seeing what was happening, so that her presence is still a surprise later on, but we are still shown that she didn't just magically appear out of nowhere. Then we can cut to a shot where we see the drunk man's surprised face and flailing limbs as he's suddenly pulled back, so that we can actually see the strength of the pull before revealing that it was Wonder Woman who was watching and who came to the rescue. I think these shots would have been more effective at adding to the story that's trying to be told. As a final comparison, let's look at another shot from Yojimbo, where we are shown the relaxed stature of multiple men in a room before they are ambushed, which causes them to jump up and fight. In the same shot, we are shown how the ambusher is surrounded and outnumbered. The ensuing fight is a sword fight, so the shot focuses on the energy and movements of the sword swings by cutting out the character's feet and showing their shoulders, arms, and the full range of the swings. The energy of the sword swings and their direct impact on the surroundings are presented to us together in real time as well. Notice how having this cause and effect in the same shot emphasizes the might and danger of those sword swings, because we can see how it affects its surroundings in real time. We then cut to a shot of a woman opening her door as the fighting continues in front of her. We cut to a bust shot of her so that we can see her scared expression and also her cowering arms in the frame. But the shot is also wide enough so that we can see the fighting that she is actually reacting to directly in front of her. These shots are also very effective at adding to the story efficiently. However, this short action sequence from the 2020 Mulan film, which shows a quick attack used by a general on his underlings, split up the offensive energy by the general and the reactions or impacts of those actions into different shots. I think this was ineffective at accomplishing its goal of making the general look skillful and strong, as opposed to a shot where we would see his actions and their impacts directly in the same shot. Splitting up the cause and effect in shots like in Mulan aren't always a bad thing though, as long as it's done for a purpose, like to get us to focus on other critical information. For example, this was done with great effect in Yojimbo as well. Here we first see a wide full body shot to see the characters' running direction and actions. We then cut to a closer bust shot to see their expressions and their weapons of choice being utilized. The energy and reactions are split up in these shots to give us better comprehension by getting us to focus on certain aspects of the quick action. It's also used to focus on important characters' facial expressions to add character development inside the fight, like this moment where the gunman, who was one of the main villains of the film, realizes his pistol was beaten for the very first time. Once the important character moments are done, the film continues focusing on the fight with wider shots that show the sword swings and their impact. Back to Mulan, after the general takes his new recruits 2 swords, he gives them a stern warning inside of a bust shot where we see his profile with the mountain range as the backdrop. The general is meant to be authoritative and badass at this moment, but the elements in this shot don't add to this story at all. Instead, why didn't we see him give his stern warning in this shot? Here we see more of his uniform, which is impressive compared to the others, and he holds the 2 swords which he just easily stole out of the 2 main characters' hands, as he stands confidently in between them and the other troops, who are all in awe, and we see him from the front so we can empathize with how the troops he is speaking to might be feeling in that moment. I think this would have been a much better shot for the story that was trying to be told. So the next time that you are setting up a shot, remember to consider if what is inside the frame is effective at adding to the story or not.